What I would like to put to your attention is our experience that we have some years ago in a European project called Peripheral Access, which was concerned with how to improve the accessibility of by public transport, mainly to rural and peripheral areas. Within this project, the Peripheral Access project, we developed the first DRT service in the whole Regione Friuli-Venezia-Giulia, working along with the major public transport company at local and regional level, which is Trieste Trasporti. This was the first demand-responsive transport services in the region, which was included in the regional plan, but thanks to the project, European project, we actually implemented this service. Obviously, to access the service, you have to follow some technical rules, which are those typical of the DRT services around the world, I would say, in terms of booking, how to manage, how to access, scheduling, whatever. But what is very important, I would say, is that through the deployment and implementation of the DRT services, we actually changed the overall logic, because especially from the user's perspective, users do not have to wait for the bus, but actually they can call the bus. This means a totally change in the overall logic, how to deploy, how to provide public transport services. You move from a supply-driven approach to a demand-driven approach. This is very important. It is also a cultural issue, especially for users. In terms of major results, what we can say is the first, we have, thanks to the project, we have a very strong political commitment and political willingness to move toward innovation in this specific sector, which is basically mostly a traditional sector, that of public transport. This was very important. So we have a strong involvement of project partners, of local and regional stakeholders, the public transport companies. It was a very important achievement. From a more technical point of view, we create from scratch, I would say, or more or less so, we create innovation ecosystems. Thanks to the project, along with the public transport company, we were able to build upon a new ecosystems moving towards innovation in these particular fields, in terms of platforms, in terms of services, in terms of apps, and whatever. Also, thanks to the project, and this was actually one of the major goals of the project, we will be able to replicate this innovative service, this smart solution, also in other parts of the regions, in the Regione Friuli-Venezia-Giulia. This was actually one of the major goals of the project, to move toward other geographical areas within the region, to deploy other additional smart solution based on the results of this project. I would like to also highlight some of the major policy recommendations we provide through the project. For sure, let me say this, if you look at the overall mobility, you will see traditionally a rather polarized scenario. On one hand, you have the private mobility, which is still based on the car ownership model. On the other hand, and in this respect, we should be honest in saying that we saw a lot of innovation in the last years in these sectors. On the other hand, we have the public transport sector, which is still based on rather traditional approach. You have fixed routing, fixed scheduling, traditional buses, 70 seats or so, and whatever. So there is a good number of opportunities in between. And the question is, who is going to seize these opportunities? Thanks to the project, we achieve major results in terms of a more proactive role for the public transport sector and the public sector as a whole, I would say. Another policy recommendation that we provide is absolutely we have the necessity, especially when dealing with cross-border mobility. Actually, the services we implemented and deployed during the European project was actually interconnected with the other part of the border, which is Slovenia. But for sure, we in terms of policy recommendation, we have the strong need to revise the regulatory framework, especially when dealing with cross-border mobility, because a number of opportunities for innovative solutions, for smart solutions in the field of public transport are still not allowed, are still not permitted due to some regulatory indication. For instance, cabotage services are not allowed if you're dealing with cross-border. This would obviously imply a kind of duplication of the services and as such and waste, inefficiency and whatever. The last policy recommendation that we provide is the need, actually, this is a quite challenging policy recommendation. They need to involve additional stakeholders when providing an innovative solution on a territory, because obviously the current state of regulation, just the public transport company can do so. But we need also to try to involve additional stakeholders, because when you serve a peripheral rural area, there are other stakeholders who is going to benefit from these services. Think about shops, restaurants, banks, schools, and whatever. And why not involving also these stakeholders in the support of both from a socioeconomic, environmental, but also strictly speaking from a financial point of view, to support this and make this sustainable in the long term, this kind of innovative solution.